It's frantic, it's intense, clock is ticking. What was going on in your head?
It was a crazy few minutes. The dropkick was kind of probably the last resort.
I think a lot of people looking at you from a distance will look in and think, this is a fella who has pretty unshakable levels of self-belief. Would that be accurate?
People that know me from when I was younger would say that I always had like strong self-belief, and I did, even at times where no one believed in me. Like I remember we were playing England. England were in, I think it was 2011. They were coming for a Grand Slam to the Aviva, and I'd been dropped for the 2 previous games. And suddenly Declan Kidney put me into the last game, and there was uproar. It was like, why is he getting another chance? And all these things. I remember going there in the morning of the game and saw the headline on the back page, like wrong out half for this team or something like that. I was going, but again, it didn't waver the self-belief.
It didn't?
No, it made me go, I'll show you. It actually helps me sometimes, like I'll prove you wrong, that kind of mentality. And then I had a great, really good game.
Was there a time where some external voice actually did cut through?
Well, like you, within games, that internal voice would be, but the more I've learned about it, the more it's like, that's not me. That's part of my brain that's just trying to sabotage me. And once you know that, and once you hear that, you can sort of push it to the side at times. There was tough times, definitely. Like, I remember playing those early Irish days. Ronan O'Gara was there for so long before me. The country loved him, rightly so. He's a legend of the game. And then suddenly I come in and it's like, this guy can't lace his boots and all these. And it did affect me, definitely, at the start.
In what way?
I was unsure of myself. I was even unsure of my teammates, whether they wanted me there, because, you go to Munster. When I was playing those early days with Ireland, there was like 8 Munster forwards in front of me who were used to dealing with Rog behind them. And, when they're looking at you, they don't have the same belief. And that affects you a little bit, because you're going, bloody hell, I don't feel it from these guys. And then you don't feel it from the public. And
that's a tough
when you get taken off in games and he comes on, there's a big cheer. You're going to say, is that for me coming off? So it was some tougher times at the start. So despite having the self-belief, I knew I still had to keep getting better. I'm still in that frame of mind at the age that I am, that I'm trying to get better for the World Cup, trying to get better for the last few months of my career.
There are so many highlights and moments that people would pick out when they look back in your career. The drop kick away in Paris. In those seconds in the build-up, it's frantic, it's intense, clock is ticking. What was going on in your head?
It was a crazy few minutes. I just remember at the time they had a kick that would have brought them 2 scores clear, so we wouldn't need to try. But I remember talking to Fergus McFadden, good friend of mine, behind the post, and I said, if he misses, go straight to the 22. We're going to have to go quick. So we did that. I ran up to the 22 and kicked it. Next thing, Ian Henderson, who hadn't heard the plan, kind of intercepted the ball. So the plan got off to a good start in everyone else's eyes, but I was like, what is he doing? So he got the ball, and then it was just a case of trying to get into their half to get a penalty. That was what the whole thing was about. It was just trying to eke out a penalty. We probably should have had a couple of penalties within that sort of sequence of play. The drop kick was kind of probably the last resort. Joe Schmidt was our coach, and a few years previous, we just lost to the All Blacks at home in the Aviva, last minute try. Definitely a massive low moment for me, because I missed a kick to go 2 scores clear in that game, which might have put the game to bed. I remember getting the ball, putting it down. All the cameras were flashing. I looked up at the post and there was just lights, people recording, phones. And in my head I was going, this is the moment that you've waited for. This is the moment, to beat the All Blacks. Like this is what you've done all the work for. This was the mentality I had. I was trying to keep it positive, but I got away from my routine. Like I got away from the things the process that I'd worked on for a split second. And then by the time I got it back, it was probably too late.
Did that linger in your head?
Oh, that was like that kick. Until we beat New Zealand a few years later, every time I came to that spot on the pitch, whether it was in training or in other games, it came into my head. Every time I'm in the Aviva and I put the ball down in that spot, it came into my head. We would have beaten the All Blacks for the first time, and there was Brian O'Driscoll, Paul O'Connell in the team, who never got to beat the All Blacks, and that was their chance. And they held the ball for 4 minutes, 10 seconds, and every single session we worked on either defending against 4 minutes or attacking with the ball for 4 minutes. And it was tough. We did this constantly, like all the time. 5 years later, we're in Paris. We break our record. We never held the ball I don't think we'd ever held it for more than 4 minutes. We did 4:50. Off the back of probably the biggest heartbreak for a lot of us, this moment happened, and people think it was just by chance. Like, we had prepared for this, we had worked on it.
The World Cup's coming up. At the end of the last World Cup, did you expect to be here?
No.
What did you think walking off the pitch the last time?
I thought that was it. I thought that I'd finish with, I knew I was obviously contracted for the rest of that season, but I knew that there was a new coach coming in. Often with the new coaches, they work in World Cup cycles. So they go, okay, he's 34, he's not going to make it. We're going to start building without him. In the back of my mind, I thought he might give me, use my experience to sort of get the new team off to a start, and then sort of phase me out. So that was my worry. That was my fear. But then the opposite happened. Andy asked me to captain the team, and I was like, wow, that's faith and he said, I think you can get to the next World Cup if you look after yourself and we look after you. That gave me maybe the belief to go and go, okay, because I think the fact that I was captain and, you feel like you're a huge part of the team, and it's such a good team to be part of, such good lads. We've started from scratch. We brought a lot of young players in, and we've sort of created this team. We as in the whole group, that you feel like it's our team now, like it's all of us, it's ours. And it's an exciting time ahead. But yeah, I didn't think that I'd get there.
The World Cup will end, as will your playing career. What are your feelings around that?
Grateful for the journey that I've had, definitely. To play at this age is a blessing, definitely. I'd be gutted if something happened now and I didn't get to go to the World Cup. I'd be absolutely gutted. I'd look back going, unfulfilled. Probably that's the mentality that I get into. I look back at the journey and just go, it's been amazing. So many ups and downs, but all part of the story as such. And I'm just mad keen to finish on a high, because I know whatever happens in the next few months, I'm going to have to live with for the next few years probably. And there's also excitement about what's ahead. Daunted but excited. I think that's the right way of putting it. Sort of the uncertainty is not my friend, definitely. I'm determined not to be the person that sits and watches and doesn't want the teams to do well because I'm not there. I want Leinster to do well. I want Ireland to do well. I'm going to try and leave as much of me there as I can to experiences and stuff like that to allow them to keep going. I wasn't always like that. I think Graham Henry came to visit Leinster years ago. He was like, are you helping the young lads? And I said, I'm pushing them away. I'm trying to keep them from a distance, trying to stay at the top. And he was like, you realise that when you leave, that your legacy will be what you leave behind. And I was like, no, it won't. But he's right, you know what I mean? How the team goes when you're gone does say a bit about you. When you view it like that, you're kind of going, you want to give as much as you can. But definitely, I definitely want to be bringing Luca to watch Leinster play and watch Ireland play and not being bitter and just being happy with what I've achieved and what I've done. And then best of luck to the guys.
I wish you well with the World Cup and whatever it is comes afterwards.
Thank you.
Thanks a million.
Essentially, kickers are like golfers. You could play brilliant, kick 6 out of 8, and you come home and all you can think about is the 2 that you left behind.